What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. As part of the Dungeon Defenders Juicy May Spectacular, I am here for a little weekly Q&A with the Chromies themselves. We have got Augi, the international cuisine and world traveler. We've got Phil here, and we've got Andrew. What's up, y'all?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
So has it, I know Andrew is not there on location, but has it hit the full 6 million degrees in Florida quite yet?
It's definitely getting there. The summer heat's quickly approaching.
The Pacific Northwest. We got the luxury of cool temperatures still, but still sunshine, so that's kind of nice.
Very jealous of you coming from the Midwest, so.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, anyway, for the month of May, I'm taking kind of a deep dive into Dungeon Defenders Going Rogue and Dungeon Defenders Awakened. Started fresh accounts in both games and playing through, and throughout the whole time, just getting kind of feedback from the community, getting some top questions to ask you all. And, you know, before we even dive into it, I just wanted to say I do appreciate the opportunity and the communication here to get together with you all and get this recorded. So, kudos, and thank you all very much.
For sure. I'm excited for these tough questions.
The hard-hitting questions from Juicebag. Let's go.
All right. Well, I mean, we might as well just go ahead and jump right to the elephant in the room. The number one everybody wants to know, myself included, I'm no exception. It's been a long while on Dungeon Defenders Awakened since we've seen an update. And, you know, obviously, I'm not even attempting to pin you all down to a date. But is there any rough expectation at all when we'll see any sort of an update to Dungeon Defenders Awakened?
At this point, we don't have any, specific date, and I know you said you weren't trying to pin us down to one, but we want to make sure, kind of, going forward, we're fulfilling our promises to our community and stuff, so we don't really want to give, time frames, because, as you've kind of seen, even going with, the PlayStation update, we've, ran into some hiccups there, so we don't want to give dates that we can't hit, so we're trying to give you dates and times that we, are for sure and 100% are in stone, so, I know as much of a non-answer as it is, we don't have an update on that, but we will be as upfront and give you guys as much information as we can as we get it.
All right, fantastic. Now, we've gotten a little tease, of course, as far as what's coming. Now, that post last week obviously revealed a lot as far as plans and goals for the future for DDA, but is there any guess on when there will be any sort of reveals on the remainder of the heroes and maps coming in episode 2?
So I think for that one, really we want to reveal stuff as it's ready to be revealed. Once we get things in a presentable state, we are pretty comfortable with revealing that stuff when it comes to new maps and heroes and stuff like that. But a lot of that stuff is not quite ready or in the state we want to put it out into, the new maps and the enemy, the bosses, stuff like that. It's all kind of still getting polished and worked on. And so once we get to a point where we can do a proper reveal on those things, we'll definitely be doing more of those.
Okay, fantastic. And then, another tough one here, but something that's just was repeated throughout the course of the week is a lot of players feel like there was, kind of a lack of trust created between Chromatic and some longtime players and the Kickstarter backers. What is Chromatic's plan? What are you all going to do to gain back that trust for the people that feel like they didn't get the bang for their buck?
Honestly, going forward, it's just kind of it's making sure that we deliver on the promises that we have. So, in the past, even before I was here, I know that there's been some hiccups with Kickstarter and that kind of stuff, and going forward, it's just about delivering on those, and then also keeping the relationship and the communication between us and the community, especially, even better. And we're kind of, you're kind of starting to see even more in-depth versions of that with the surveys that we're putting out. So therefore, that you know that we're listening to you and we're not just, throwing it into some sort of file cabinet, which the likes will never be seen again. We're actually taking your information, putting it into actionable spreadsheets internally, and then, it's going through a development process as we can better, get those changes out that the community wants, as opposed to, making so that we make sure that we are in tune with what the community is, and not just like what our perception of what the community thinks is the right thing. We want to make sure we're gathering that information. So it's, going forward, it's just, making sure that we're delivering on the promises that we have made, and then continuing to be as transparent as possible with the development process, and then what we want to do and what the community wants us to do going forward.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really going to be the key there, is just trying to
I'd like
continue.
to also add...
Try to continue with our updated transparency of actually talking about the things that we're planning, and then actually, getting one thing we're going to be looking at more is with Rifted, putting out some ideas and trying to actually, hear the community feedback before we actually lock ourselves in for a specific idea. So trying to kind of build trust that way.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing we're going to work more on is, engaging with the community. And this is a part of it. Like talking to you, Juice Bags, who I'd say is our greatest prophet. Just start talking more with people, human beings like you and people within our community. That's something that, we need to work on, and we will be. And this is a great start, and we will be.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. All right, so jumping on over to Going Rogue. One thing that was kind of mentioned throughout the week when we played it is people feel like it will be a super fun game to play on consoles. Now, obviously, the game is still in development and, is getting through that development period, but is there the intention down the road of releasing Going Rogue on consoles?
Phil, you want this? You want me to take it? Or
Yeah, no, I can take this one.
Yeah, go for it.
Consoles, we definitely want to get DDG on consoles. And one of the great things about taking the framework from DDA is that it will definitely help us get through certification process a little bit quicker, because we have a lot of that back-end support built up. That said, consoles are a lot of work even with all that. And so there'll still be some tweaking. We'll have to do, controller support and all of that. And definitely something that we're going to be moving towards as we get closer to our 1.0 release.
Okay, awesome. Now, with, when it comes to action on roguelites, there's normally, obviously this is a very generic term, but there's normally two flavors. You've got one set cycle that you play through. Say it's like a Vampire Survivors type thing where, you go through, it's 30 minutes. That's the goal. If you complete the 30 minutes, you won that match. And then you've got others that are more along the lines of Risk of Rain. One thing that a lot of people have really expressed interest in is seeing some sort of one that's more like a Risk of Rain in the aspect of it's an endless mode. Is that something that's possibly on the horizon down the road?
Oh, I picked up some audio there. I thought somebody else was answering. But no, as far as endless mode goes, it's something that that we would like to do, but it's not our focus currently. So, our focus is on making, the base game of Going Rogue kind of the strongest that it can be. And then kind of at that point, once we get a good base down, then sort of coloring outside of the lines to try and see what works and what doesn't work within the framework that we've got. So endless mode is something that, is definitely in the realm of those things to do. We just don't have any specific plans for modes going forward at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be trying to add more additional content, more heroes, more features and progression-oriented stuff to kind of make the game feel more whole, and then, investigating what, the players want. And if that's, an endless mode, then that's something we'll definitely look into.
Okay, fantastic. Now, one of the biggest complaints, of course, with Dungeon Defenders Awaken is just the frequency of updates. Whether they be big or small, it's just the player base feels like it's just too long. in between updates themselves. Is going rogue, or is the intention with going rogue to get out updates and content additions more frequently?
So I think the goal there is, because we are building our updates for both DDA and DDGR, we can use a lot of the same content very quickly. And so the idea would be that moving forward, we can release, more quicker updates for DDGR to catch up with like the amount of content that DDA has provided. So like we have a ton of heroes we can plug in, as well as just expanding the amount of features and content. On top of that, it's just seeing what we can do within our timelines and kind of making sure that we're hitting our goals.
Okay. Now, with the runes in Going Rogue, now, of course, it was already discussed that runes would be coming to DDA in the future. Some of the runes, feel a little bit on the lackluster side, and some of them feel absolutely ridiculously good. Two, for example, that pop into mind are the one that shoots out the fireballs when you drop a defense. I mean, that's just the most glorious thing I've ever seen in my life. That thing is just cool as hell. And then, secondly, the DST, which has the explosion. Now, not really speaking specifically about that defense, but one thing that rune does do for that defense is it changes it drastically. And that would allow players really, in Dungeon Defenders Awakened, to be able to customize to a whole new level their sets of defenses, not just with, rate, range, power, etc. Will some of these unique runes that are in DDGR, not obviously, it's too soon to give any sort of exacts, but will some of these unique defense-changing runes make it into Dungeon Defenders Awakened?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a very, very good possibility. The whole idea behind runes was that it could be used for DDGR as well as a system used for DDA to provide players more build diversity and flexibility over their heroes, allowing them to specialize into specific abilities, specific towers. Like you pointed out, the DST explosion one. We'll probably have to take a pass on all these runes that we do bring over to DDA, making sure they fit within balance, and potentially like tuning them up or down depending on how they do. But overall, the idea is to try and bring as many of those into DDA that fit the theme.
Okay.
Well, and that also kind of goes back to, one of your previous questions about like the update timeframes on DDA versus DDGR and that sort of thing. And so right now with DDGR, we're kind of building like that foundation, to go back to my house analogy that I've already used. I'm going to keep using that. But at this point, once you kind of get that foundation built, then you can kind of build this like general structure together that it's going to be easier to grab the pieces for back and forth. And, each rune that we implement in, DDA or DDGR, it may not look the same. It may have different, different abilities or different numbers or, just different balance in general. But like it makes those things, the more and more we build out the foundation of DDGR, the more, the more amenities we can provide to both.
Okay, yeah, I'm excited to see some of the customization options with various defenses down the road there. I think that's a good plan to give DDA a little bit more of a unique identity there as well. Now, whether people that have come out to the stream have loved Going Rogue or have not necessarily liked Going Rogue, one thing is for sure is everyone agrees the maps look amazing. The changes to lighting, everything, it just looks really, really good. Are these like lighting and volumetric fog changes going to be coming to Dungeon Defenders Awakened?
So right now you mentioned volumetric fog, and there like in the options there is a toggle for that will give you a little bit of difference there. So it's something that we wanted to, in DDGR, we wanted to give the maps like a fresh look without having to redo everything. So I think we've and based on your feedback and the community's feedback and our internal feedback, that I think we've succeeded at that. So but we don't necessarily want to go in and just replace all the old maps with, you know, the new lighting changes. Not to say that we won't do it in some capacity at some point, but that's not currently the plan right now, because also too, like, the new thing is always, you know, the better thing. So we kind of want to make sure and take some time to look at it to make sure it's, you know, is this objectively better, or is it just that everybody's excited for it because they've seen these maps for a while and they're getting them in quite literally a new light.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I personally absolutely love the changes.
Me too.
It was one 100%. Of the things that way back in the day on DDA's launch day, I was streaming with volumetric fog turned off because I felt it was a little bit overwhelming. And JavaHawk kind of prodded me a little bit. He's like, "What's the deal, man? Why you got the volumetric fog turned off? I can tell just by watching." But, I mean, I think the maps look great. I would love to see maybe even, you know, obviously I'm not the engineer, you guys are, but, I mean, maybe even if there's just some sort of option besides on or off with volumetric fog, because it does look nice. It's just when it's on in its full glory, it feels to me like it could be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, there's definitely some things we can look at there, and even potentially even just like tweaking them, just in general to try and give it, because some maps are a little bit more over the top than others, so maybe trying to bring those more in line, or even just taking the philosophies that we learned from DDGR and kind of reapplying them to DDA.
Awesome. All right, now this is a hot topic here because this is such a split group here. You know, a lot of Dungeon Defenders 1 players are very used to a tactical map style of play. Dungeon Defenders 2 players, of course, are used to a mini-map. And it kind of goes 50-50 with what people like, whether a mini-map or the tac map. Is the mini-map possible for Dungeon Defenders Awaken?
I mean, anything we do in DDGR is definitely on the table in terms of like bringing stuff over to DDA. The main considerations there would be like, how does it perform? Because DDGR has a big advantage when it comes to performance, given the enemy counts and just overall a lot less stuff going on. So we can be a little bit more open when it comes to things like the mini map, because one of the things with the TAC map in DDA is when it's closed, it's actually not doing anything. So there's that performance gains to be had there.
Right.
So it'd be looking at things like that, potentially weighing how much additional performance it costs. But if it turns out those things are pretty negligible and it's a big request for DDA, then it's definitely something we can look at adding.
Okay, awesome. Well, that is all I got for you this week. So we're going to be, I'm going to be going throughout the entire month of May, all the way to June 1st, actually. That way we get a solid 4 weeks here. And, like I mentioned at the beginning, I appreciate the opportunity to get together and chat with you all. And I'm sure the community will appreciate it as well, as all of these questions are coming directly from them, So this is the top stuff that was discussed throughout the course of the week. And it's nice to chat with you all and get your responses.
For sure.
Yeah, and can I plug something real quick for us?
For sure.
We just put out the third feedback survey, about 20 minutes before we started recording this, actually. So this feedback survey is going to be focused on general DDA quality of life improvements and any bugs that you've encountered that think are overlooked or need to be fixed. So we've got that up right now. It's live on our Twitter account. And then it's also posted in Discord, and I'm sure Juicebags will have it for you somewhere, and if not everywhere. So that'll be open until the next Friday, the 20th. So
awesome.
Any feedback that you guys have, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll definitely plug that down into the description below. So scroll on down there, y'all, and get your feedback in. Now, I mentioned this before with the other surveys. If, no matter where you stand on the future of the various Dungeon Defenders games, if you don't get your feedback in, then what more can you say? You've got to tell Chromatic what you want, or they're not going to know what you want. So do the survey. They never take very much time. In fact, I wish I could put more in them sometimes. But there's if you don't get your feedback in, there's nothing they can do for it. So make your voice heard, y'all.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And yeah, go ahead, Augie.
Oh, go on.
No, I was gonna say go for it.
Yeah, I just want to add that Dungeon Defenders is not going away. Chromatic Games, we're 35 hardworking, loving developers that are in love with Dungeon Defenders, along with you guys. And it's a profession of passion, and we could easily do something else, like work for Microsoft or something like that. But no, we chose to work on Dungeon Defenders. It's because we love the games, we love the franchise, and we love the fans. And we're not going anywhere. We're going to make some great content. We're going to make some great games. And we're going to make some great new stuff for everyone that's watching. So stay in touch.
Awesome. Good to hear, for sure. Well, I guess that will get it for today. Thank you all once again. Any last words? Or I know you guys got a busy day ahead of you.
No, I already plugged my survey. I think we're good on that now. Just appreciate everybody's feedback, and appreciate these sort of questions, and I like taking time like this, to get us together and at least touch base. We don't always have the answers that I know that everybody wants, but we'll be honest with you guys and let you know as soon as we know anything. So
awesome. Sounds fantastic. So thank you all once again for the time. Don't forget, down in the description below, head on over and fill out the survey. And that will do it this time around. Now, we plan on meeting again in another week, and looking forward to seeing what the next week brings here. So we will, I'll gather the toughest questions possible to throw at you guys next week.
I bet.
But thanks again, y'all, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.